Welcome to the wall. In today's video, we'll see how a woman divorces her husband, with whom she has 4 children, to enter the dating market as a single mother. We'll also hear a woman's opinion on why women lose their husbands, as well as a woman saying that if her husband dies, she would never marry anyone else. Before we begin, we want to thank you for being here. Your support means a lot to us. If you like what you see, we invite you to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. We'd also love to hear about your experiences in the comments. Your participation helps us grow and reach more people. Thank you for being part of our project. Let's get started.
5 ways women lose a good man and how you can avoid it. Let's get into it, ladies. Number 1, taking them for granted. A man been so good to you for so long, you no longer see the value in him and what he does for you. Number 2, not communicating well or effectively, like expecting a man to read your mind and getting mad when he can't. Number 3, being dismissive about how your behavior makes him feel, or becoming overly defensive when you're being held accountable for your action. Rumor has it that women struggle with accountability. Number 4, being self-consumed and unwilling to compromise. Being so hyper-focused on your laundry list of needs, desires, wants, that you neglect his needs in the process. Remember, a relationship is not just about you or one person getting their needs met. And number 5, allowing your unaddressed trauma, your insecurity, make it hard for that man to enjoy his life and pursue his purpose in peace. Becoming insufferable.
I completely agree. Nowadays, women don't appreciate the men they have by their side because they're constantly told they deserve everything just for being women. That's why everything a man does is underappreciated. But everything a woman does for you has to be praised, so she won't get angry. Another thing is when she's upset, she asks what's wrong with you and says she's fine, as if one were a mind reader or had to guess what's bothering her, because it's so difficult for her to clearly express what she wants. The other problem is making a woman take responsibility for her actions, something that's kryptonite for women because, as I said, they feel entitled just for being women. Nowadays, if a woman does something nice for her man, it's considered being oppressed by the patriarchy because relationships always have to revolve around making the woman happy all the time. It's even worse when this woman has been through the hands of a Chad, a man who brings nothing to the table except his seed. This woman comes with all the trauma from her unresolved past and tries to take it out on you, especially by making you feel like nothing you do is enough to make her happy. Just look at the following very interesting divorce case.
Well, on today's episode of I Regret My Divorce, I think the biggest takeaway is the grass is definitely not always greener on the other side. But let's take a look.
We signed our final divorce papers last week, and I just got notified today that the lawyer sent the papers to the court today to be signed by the judge. Everybody keeps thinking that I'm handling this divorce so well, and I'm not. I'm not okay. Next week would have been our 9-year anniversary. And I don't know what I'm supposed to do with myself. I didn't want this. I never wanted this. And it hurts and it sucks and okay. I know that I'm gonna be okay. But right now it really sucks. And I feel like I can't breathe.
So this was my first Christmas as a divorced single mom. You want to know how it went? It is currently 8 a.m. on December 26th, and I just woke up an hour ago after sleeping for the last 20 hours. Because this year was Josh's year to have the kids. So I worked from 10 p.m. till 10:30 a.m. Christmas Eve into Christmas morning, and I came home and then I went to sleep and I didn't wake up until an hour ago because I had nowhere to be and no one to be with. For the last 11 years of my life, my Christmases have been spent with my in-laws because that was the family that I had, and I don't have that anymore. I have one half-sister who I talk to occasionally who is in a completely different state, so couldn't spend Christmas with her. Other than that, I don't have family. And all of my friends were spending Christmas with their families, so I slept. I wish more single parents who had to share their children for the holidays would, talk about how much this sucks. And, I know it sucks to be, the downer of the holiday season, but also, because nobody talks about it, I feel like I'm alone in feeling like this, and
Remember, brothers, she doesn't miss you because she loves you. She misses the life you offered her because, as I always say, a man is the only one who marries for love, while a woman marries for a lifestyle. A woman never appreciates what she has. She only does when she realizes her life wasn't so bad, that she was the problem. Many won't admit it because, as you know, taking responsibility is kryptonite for women. She'll blame her husband for everything that's wrong in the relationship. But when she has to start working, when she has to start doing everything for herself without her husband covering for her, she begins to long for what they lost. But that doesn't happen all at once. First, she wants to enter the dating market without understanding how it works after divorce, especially as a single mother, because a woman over 35 doesn't understand many men past that age don't want commitment, let alone taking care of another man's child. Of course, they'll want to have fun with her, but as they know, she has to hit the wall to understand that the grass isn't always greener. Check out the next video.
really suck. I'm on a mission to date through the alphabet, and
I can see clearly when you're on myself.
this week was K-Week, and, well, he's 20 minutes late. I know that he's getting my text messages because I'm getting the red receipts. I hope he's okay. I don't know, how long do I wait? It's been 30 minutes. I tried to call him. I tried to text him. I haven't gotten an answer. So I don't really know what to do. I don't know. Oh.
Hello?
Hey,
Hey,
what are you guys doing?
we're at the playground right now. Why, what's up?
So I got stood up,
Jeez.
and he kind of said something that really kind of just fucked me up. And I really just kind of want my kids. If maybe you would bring the kids to come and I can just do it with them instead.
Let me call Mom and let her know what's going on, because, I think they'd enjoy kayaking, but I also need to ask them or let them know, so.
Okay, just let me know.
Alrighty.
Alright, thanks.
I'll let you know what's going on.
Alright, thank you.
Yep.
Alright, bye.
Bye. Okay.
One of the hardest things I've had to learn over the last couple months that I've been doing the alphabet dating is that dating as a single mom of 4 in my 30s sucks. I started this as a way to build a list of things that I want and don't want in a future partner, and I have had a blast as I've been going through all of these dates. And I've learned a lot. One of those things is that I want somebody who is going to be able to accept the fact that my children are the biggest part of my life. So far, only one person had shown any interest in my children, and he even ended things by saying that he can't see himself with somebody with 4 kids. And that sentiment has been echoed throughout these dates. They all tell me that I am really great, they have a lot of fun with me, that they want to keep seeing me, but that they couldn't really see anything serious with me. And I think that that is kind of getting to me, because my kids are freaking amazing, and I don't understand why you wouldn't want to spend time with them.
And here we see again how the wall doesn't forgive. The modern woman is faithful to her emotions above all else. A woman in her 30s with 4 children who had a husband, instead of saving her marriage, fighting to keep it healthy and together for the sake of their children. She ends up ruining everything for everyone just because she believes she deserves to be happy. Because, as she says, she knows what she wants in a future partner. Now everyone will be miserable because of her. Look at how the father of the children was enjoying himself with his kids. She decided to get upset, trying to annoy her ex-partner in front of their children, just to get even. Can you imagine how it would have been if this man had a new woman? Surely she would have caused a scene because that's how selfish they are. Just seeing that she went out with both men and women, in short, she experienced everything, only to end up back at the wall. This is what I'm saying. You can't make this stuff up. For children, a woman without family, deciding to end her marriage just to go try with other men because she considers her husband isn't enough. That's why I love karma. Every day it lets women know that the grass isn't greener, that the wall doesn't forgive.
Question for the women out there who are married to men. Women who have amazing marriages with their husbands. Husbands that treat them like the queens that they are. They love their husbands. They're best friends with their husbands. They have a super healthy dynamic, a wonderful friendship. Would you, if something happened to your husband, get remarried to another man? I have a wonderful husband. He is amazing. I am not bullshitting. I'm not kidding. I love him. He is my best friend. He treats me very well. He is wonderful. But if something happened to him, I would not get remarried to a man. Like, maybe to a woman. I don't know. I'm not gay, but I think I got lucky. I think I got extremely lucky because the stories that I hear online, in my friend groups, I got lucky. There are way too many shitty men out there, and you just don't know. I don't want to take my chances again because I think I lucked out the first time. So I'm curious if other women who are in great marriages with men feel the same way that I do.
My response to this is that once a person has passed away, they have no opinion on anything that's happening. Because if you, as a good wife, your husband passes away, you're still young, you have every right to rebuild your life with someone else. You didn't cheat, you weren't a bad spouse, and you fulfilled your duties while you were married to the person you loved. Now, you don't have to go into monk mode for this. I know many women say he would want you to remarry, but there are men who never recover from losing their wives. They're left like that. It's said that men die faster after 60 when their wives die. We just have to see that there are more women reaching ages over 80 than men. A man who loves his wife stays happy. This makes his life perhaps more meaningful because all men like to have a purpose. But brothers, let me know in the comments if you think it's okay for your wife to remarry after you die. Let's see a feminist opinion on this in the next video.
Would you, if something happened to your husband, get remarried?
The way I ran to the comment section in this video. So the question is, women who are best friends with their husbands are good men, they enjoy being married, they're happily married, would you remarry after your husband died? And I kid you not, there are literally 10,000 comments of women who are saying, I'm happily married and no, I would not get remarried. And there's this big collective response of, I would enter my Golden Girls era, I would live with my best friends or my sister or my family. And this is actually one of the reasons why patriarchy exists. It was so that men would have a role in the care and attention of women, especially later in their lives. And if you were raised in a patriarchal religion like me, you know this to be true. The old men in my church had these really big callings. Our highest leaders are really old men who are worshipped and have meaning and purpose until the day they die. They get to speak last and drone on about whatever they want, and they get to always be supported by the women in their life. Whereas the women, when they die, their funerals are like, she was amazing, she was a good wife and mother, and then 6 months later he remarries. And something that's really interesting that I've been thinking about is that when we look at archetypal stories of the heroine's journey, if we look at these ancient stories, we don't see men healing themselves. We see women in the heroine's journey healing themselves, healing the wounded feminine, healing the wounded masculine in themselves, and then in turn healing the wounded masculine around them. And so what does it mean that in our archetypal stories, it is the men who protect the goddess and provide safety and security and space for the goddess to thrive, and then the goddess in turn heals him? And that is the pattern in our stories. It's never the guy heals himself and then the goddess emerges. It's always the other way around.
This is the problem nowadays with these women who belong to the pink hair movement. They always see everything as a competition with men, that the patriarchy glorifies women only as good mothers when the man dies. I haven't seen a single healthy marriage where one of the members dies and they're not remembered for something. Because women don't want to understand that the greatest gift in a man's life that a woman can give are his children, raising them. That man will always remember her as a good mother. Of course, since the man can't have the children, he's remembered for his contributions. As for the idea that a man remarries within 6 months, it's very relative. Depending on the age, a man doesn't reach 60 and has the right to move on with his life, just like a woman does. But since these women always see life from a perspective where everything that happens affects them, they'll always look for a problem where there isn't one. Because what's more important than people who don't give a damn about you saying on the day you die that you were a good donor, or that you were in church, or donated money, or being remembered as the mother of a wonderful family with marvelous children, the best grandmother, the best wife, the love of a man's life, at some point the center of the family and the lives of a group of people who always saw you as the best they could have, or being remembered by a stranger who doesn't care about you at all. That's why women never appreciate how important it is to have a family, ending up alone, at the wall, because the wall doesn't forgive. Welcome to The Wall. Today, we'll be discussing the case of a woman who decides to leave the father of her 2 daughters when he is going through an illness, to then move in with other single mothers. Additionally, we'll explore how dating women over 30 nowadays is awful. Before we begin, we want to thank you for being here. Your support means a lot to us. If you enjoy what you see, we invite you to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. We'd also love to hear about your experiences in the comments. Your engagement helps us grow and reach more people. Thank you for being part of our project. Let's get started.
If you are a single woman looking for a man, preferably an older man, maybe in his 50s to 60s, maybe late 40s, buy yourself a Cadillac. Ever since I've had this Cadillac, I get eyed up and down and asked so many questions about this car. They're always like, they want the car, so get the Caddy, and then maybe you can get yourself the man. If you want an old man. If you don't want an old man, don't get a Cadillac because they swarm you.
I'm a single lady living in Toronto, and these are some of the dating rules that keep me from going crazy because these streets are wild. Number 1, I don't attribute meaning to people I don't know that well. That nice text, that great first date, that doesn't mean that they're the one. It just means it was a nice text or a good first date. Probably most importantly, and I should have led with this, I don't get my validation or confidence from men. But whether or not someone likes me really doesn't matter all that much. And I remind myself that you're not supposed to be for everybody. Not every person you go on a date with is meant to be your person. So it's okay if it feels like you've been on a string of 10 really bad dates with guys you don't connect with.
Have you noticed that every day there are more and more women talking about how to get men, how to make them approach you? Listen to this woman. Buy yourself a Cadillac and older men will come to you. When nowadays there are women who can't even support themselves, let alone think about a Jeep like that. Don't you notice that when women talk about dating, they always talk in plural, always with numbers from 5 to 10 dates? This just makes it clear to me that when a woman goes out with a man, there are 9 others waiting their turn. That's why the saying goes, she was never yours, it was just your turn, isn't it? With dating apps, women plan to see 2 to 4 men in a week. Of course, there's always a simp willing to pay for a free meal. How do these women with so many dates not manage to meet a man, or as she says, my person, if she has a line of men waiting their turn? Of course, you won't be interested in any of them because tomorrow there will be another man ready to take you out to eat. Then they get upset when the man doesn't accept them with a high body count.
What do you think if a 30-year-old man says he has interest in me? I am 20 years old, by the way. 30 years old for a man, it's pretty young. Mentally, he's your age. It's really up to how mature you are and your self-esteem. If you have high self-esteem and you don't think that people can manipulate you or control you, and you know your worth, then I don't see anything wrong with dating a 30-year-old. I don't think you should date anyone under 30. So in my opinion, you either wait until you're, 25 or whatever age your self-esteem has improved, and then start dating guys who are over 30. I would never suggest any girl, any age, to date a guy under 30 because they have to mature. Guys under 30 are not looking for anything serious. And if they spend their 20s with you, then eventually they're going to want to make up for it. So I wouldn't suggest it.
Sincerely, a gold digger woman. These women who claim to be of high value have reality distorted in their heads. A woman in her 20s or a man between 25 and 30 would be the best option, as they are young individuals with whom you can build your future. That's an appropriate age. But she advises to seek men over 35, which isn't wrong either. But what she wants to sell is to find a man already built, not one in the process of building. Why? Because they don't want to be the woman in the process. They want to be the woman who finds the man already successful, where they only contribute their presence. In other words, they want to wait at the finish line. But many women who choose this path fail because winners have a lot of demand, and not every woman has what it takes to access these men. To a young woman, I would say to bet on a man's potential. But that's also why I tell men to focus on themselves. It's always the best investment, as women nowadays only want the winner. They don't want to contribute anything to a man's life. They only want to receive. This is what these self-interested women sell, that they deserve to receive just for being women.
CRIES, hi. Wow, you have the exact amount of hair that you have in your profile photo. You have no idea how refreshing that is. Sorry, yeah, before we order drinks, can I just lay a few things out onto the table so we're both not wasting our precious times when we could be answering unread emails? So, I'm looking for a husband and someone to have kids with. Ooh, yikes, I know. I'm not saying right now, you don't have to impregnate me on top of these menus. That's just what I'm looking for right now. So if commitment is like the boogeyman to you, I totally get it, but boo. Also, I have never come to completion solely by having an eggplant inside of my flower garden. It's important that you know that. In my multiple years of being sexually active, it's never happened not once, so I appreciate you not making your entire personality about being the person who changes that. If it's gonna affect your manhood, I'm probably just not the girl for you, and I'm definitely not gonna spend the next 10 years pretending like I am, if you know what I mean. I'm a feminist, shocker, and I'm not necessarily saying you have to be. Labels can be weird. I just would prefer you not think that any man who willingly went to go see Barbie was gay by default. Also, that being said, my best friend's on standby and she will come save me immediately should you say anything even remotely resembling an Andrew Tate quote. That one's just for my safety. Now, last but not least, I'm looking for someone who wants me as a partner, not a cheerleader. The blonde hair can sometimes throw people off. So if you want a little more rah-rah, sis, boom, bah, Chris, I love that for you. You're a very attractive man. That's why you're here. I'm sure you can find a variety of options available to you at the local mall. Now, that being said, Chris, do you feel like we're on the same page? Can we order a drink and try not to talk about our ex for the next hour, or are we reading different chapters? Fantastic. Let me go pay for parking. I'll be right back.
This is horrible nowadays. Going on dates with a 30-year-old woman is like applying for a low-paying job. They tell you all the requirements they want, and you realize that not even with 40 years of work experience would you fill the position. Once a woman hits 30, she starts to panic about her age, and the wall doesn't forgive. She might be joking, but the reality is that dates are like this. She'll start bombarding you with questions one after another, waiting to see how you respond while she evaluates you. Why do men think they want to deal with this? When you finally answer everything, and let's say you get good grades, you realize it's not worth the effort because the girl comes with several traumas left by Chad, a man who brings nothing to the table except his seed. Then you find out she went to therapy because of this man, and apparently, therapy didn't help her at all. So as a man, you understand that this woman is crazy, and it's better to avoid chaos in your life.
What do wedding vows really mean anymore?
Yeah. Oh my daddy!
I want your daddy too.
It's written all over your face. Baby, I can feel your halo. Pray it won't fade.
I feel like it is time to share a part of my life. But the truth is, addiction has been something that we have had to battle in our marriage. It's been something that is extremely heavy. It comes with a lot of things. The truth is, my husband was in treatment for 40 days. The end of last year. It was really hard, as you can imagine. I haven't realized how much of survival mode I've been in. I just so badly wanted to fix and do, and I put everything into this, like my whole soul into this process. Anyone that deals with addiction of any kind knows that when you're dealing with someone that you love that is facing that, I mean, it takes everything out of you. Like, that is just the honest truth. There's no way around it. Your life revolves around it. It consumes every part of who you are, what you do, what you feel, and like, you have to learn so much in this process. When you've experienced the depths of everything with someone, you can imagine what that brings up for both of us in facing that. And it's scary, it's hard, it's terrifying, it's vulnerable, it's raw, it's everything you can think of. And you have two people that love each other that are facing something very, very heavy and very, very difficult, also in the midst of raising two little girls. I think for me, I realized that when I look back on the last few years, I really need time to heal. I really need time to be a mom. Those things are so necessary to be able to work on things again. He is doing all the work that he can. Our fight is just going to look a little different right now. This has been a really hard burden to carry. I don't want to carry it anymore. There's no shame or guilt. I just want to be seen for me.
Marriage vows were only for the man, in sickness and in health. But the woman only remembers that she should support you in the good times, because in the bad times, the first one to jump ship is the woman. That's why I always say, on the wedding day, only the man marries for love. The woman marries for a lifestyle. The moment that lifestyle starts to fade, she'll jump ship, tear you apart with a divorce to deliver the final blow, even if you're already sinking. Just hearing her say this has been an incredibly heavy burden, and I don't want to carry it anymore. It's clear that this man no longer benefits you. Now, what's needed is for you to step forward and help him. She's tired and wants to leave that behind, to go out with whatever she can salvage from that situation, abandoning her husband. But what would have happened if it were the man giving a speech like this? He wants attention, of course. He wants to go out and try with other women. He's a more or less young man who thinks he can go out with more women. It's because of things like this that a man wonders, why bother getting married if tomorrow, when he goes through a tough time, he'll be alone anyway, because she chose to leave her husband, the father of her daughters, for this. Check out the second part for more.
I take you to be my husband, to have and to hold, from this day forward, for better or for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, till death do us part. This does remind me a little bit about the story I covered a few months ago about the wife who left her dying husband when he was diagnosed with cancer. My only thing is, why can't we stay with our spouses when they're going through something so troublesome? Why can't we just stay committed to our vows? But let's go on.
It's time for your next adventure. I have no idea what I'm going to do tomorrow. How exciting. But what anybody tells you, words, ideas can change the world.
I love you! Okay? You're safe, sweetie. Okay? I love you!
Felt so real that I couldn't let go. Girl, you ran me around like a motherfucking rodeo.
My life is complicated enough. The last thing I need is more drama.
Hey, Miley.
Hello, drama.
Leave a little deeper, leave all the leaders, keep all the key ground. Find a peace of mind in the time the good Lord gives. I'm a close one, but you go running. Say you gotta love you for the moment's gone. Never had to ask myself what if, and I get to the bottom of my fucking live, yeah. My fucking lives.
We're single moms. We act like we're strong, independent women until life requires tasks that a man should do. Where's your father?
We're single moms. We act like we're happy for each other when we get in a relationship, but secretly we want it to go.
We're single moms. People ask us how we lose weight, and I say divorce and grief. It's like coffee. We're single moms. We take turns scheduling mental breakdowns on the calendar. Yours was last week.
It's my turn. Let it go. We're single moms. We complain that there's no good guys out there, but then once a good one comes along, we self-sabotage.
We're single moms. We don't need a dating app.
You can't make this shit up. Here's the woman who said she wanted to be a mom, abandoning her daughters most likely at one of their grandparents' houses, going to live with her group of single mom friends, who were anything but mothers. She leaves her marriage simply to relive her single life. Where are her daughters? Who knows, probably dealing with the aftermath of their parents' divorce. Brothers, this is the modern woman, the one who won't support you in tough times, the one who's only told she deserves everything but shouldn't give anything in return. I can only imagine that destroyed man, coming home hoping for love and understanding from his family in those difficult moments, only to receive the final knife in the back to completely ruin him. So how can you tell me that married men are happier, when the facts tell me I'll only be loved as long as I'm useful? This woman is horrible. She just wanted to wander, travel, and enjoy with the Chads, to be like a woman in her 20s again when she has 2 daughters depending on her. I hope that man manages to recover because that woman will get the karma she deserves at some point, in sickness and in health. Yeah, right? That's why I say, the man is the only one who gets married for love. Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we will talk about single women. We'll explore the differences between the discourse of a Western single woman and a single woman from a more traditional culture. We'll also hear from a woman discussing why women are buying more houses in the United States. Before we begin, we want to thank you for being here. Your support means a lot to us. If you enjoy what you see, we invite you to subscribe to the channel and give us a like. We'd also love to hear your experiences in the comments. Your engagement helps us grow and reach more people. Thank you for being part of our project. Let's get started.
4 reasons why it's way better to meet your person in your 30s. Number 1, you're no longer dating people who have potential. You're dating the complete full package, somebody who is already who they want to be. 2, you're already financially stable, so you can do whatever you want. You can go take an amazing trip. You can get better gifts from this person. All of the things. 3, the timeline is pretty much out the window. You already know yourself. You know who you want. You know what it looks like when they come into your life. So the timeline is up to you. Number 4, you by now know how to handle your emotions so much better. You've done the work on yourself, so you're not going to be running into these roadblocks and fighting as much as you might have if you met in your 20s.
This 30-year-old woman reminds me of an insurance salesman who starts telling you the story because their insurance company is the best and everything it offers until you sign. Then you realize the headache that company is. That's how these women who have hit the wall are. One gets into the relationship because he's in love, ignoring all the red flags, believing in their words. When you come and marry them, you realize it was all a lie. Just by saying they give better gifts, it's laughable, when we all know the modern woman gives nothing in return for nothing. But in one thing, I agree, they change with age. In their youth, they went for the excitement, only wanting the current Chad who rides the carousel of emotions. At 30, they change their tune because they know time is running out. They need to snag the beta provider with whatever beauty they have left to provide long-term financial security and get that coveted ring. That's why I say the wall does not forgive.
Let's talk about the 5 tips you should be doing as a single person before you met the one. Number 1, enjoy your alone time. You might be thinking like, I'm single, San. I'm already alone.
But trust me, trust the process. Being alone and having that as a routine, having you embracing yourself at the end of the day, you're going to need that to pick yourself up for later. And I'll explain. Number 2, healing from your past relationship. Now, if you think to yourself, San, I've never had a relationship before, never even had a boyfriend. Yeah, but relationship doesn't mean love relationship. Doesn't mean a romance relationship. It could also mean your mother relationship. A lot of us girls have complicated relationship with our mother, and healing from all of those scars, it's going to help you further down the road in your loving relationship, someone that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. Number 3, hang out with your girlfriend. Go out there and have fun. Go parties. Embrace your femininity, because you're going to need that when you had a boyfriend or a loved one or a husband, because he have a lot of testosterone, girl. You're going to have to embrace who you are as the feminine energy, because when you bring that into that relationship, oh, it's going to be so beautiful, because you have so much to give. You know who you are as a female, as the embodiment of femininity. He needs that, he loves that, and he wants you here for it. And I say that is because of a lot of us single girls embody this masculine energy. I don't need a man, I can do it myself. I don't need you to bring me flour, I can do it myself. Yeah, we all know that you can, but that doesn't mean that you should. Number 4, this is your best time to advance in your career. Oh, girl, you can always advance your career with a man. I know. But hear me out here. Beginning of your relationship take a lot of your time. I cannot imagine me trying to build a career, pulling those all night or long nighter, having a man. They also take a lot of my energy too. Nurturing to a relationship is no joke. But when you had multiple things all at once, it kind of tears things apart. So meanwhile, you are single right now, focus on those. Focus in what you can. Number 5, do what you can, manifest, but don't chase. We women never come out and chase a man. If he want to, he would. Okay?
What differences exist in the mindset of an Eastern girl compared to a Western woman? While girls here only think about having fun, going out with Chad, who brings nothing to the table but his seed, making money with the Blue app, thinking only about traveling, getting drunk at parties, and getting pumped by Chad. This Eastern woman thinks about connecting with her feminine energy to establish a better relationship as a wife. She talks about staying healthy to avoid causing problems in the relationship or getting involved with so many men to avoid bringing trauma to future relationships. She only thinks about giving her all when she's in a relationship. You don't hear her with the typical discourse of Western women to go out, have fun, and live their youth. Instead, she thinks about getting married, working on her career with her husband, and connecting her feminine energy within the family. This essence is what every brother needs from a woman. That's why more and more men grab their passports and go to countries where women are more feminine, where the man's figure is respected, and you feel like you can form a team with a woman. Just hearing her say that you can advance your career with your man. They always think about what's best for the relationship, not the individualism of the modern Western woman who thinks she can do everything alone. Brothers, get your passports.
That single women report being happier than women in relationships with men.
You know what else single women like to do? Buy their own homes. Single women are buying more homes than single men, to the tune of about 2 million more a year. And that's in spite of the fact that they earn, on average, about 17 cents less a dollar than men. So one of the areas that I specialize in is with people that are getting separated and divorced. So men, women, a lot of times the women come to me because I'm a woman. And I can tell you that going through that process with them and seeing them be able to buy a home on their own and have that space be theirs, be their safe space, it's pretty empowering. It's a cool thing.
In a nutshell, you're a woman telling other women how to use the money they take from men because it's true. She says women earn less. But I heard her say she specializes in women who are getting divorced. Seeing how women buy houses after divorce is empowering. If every man could leave with a check he didn't work for to finance a house, every man in the country would have a home. But what happens is that this country doesn't want progress for men. It wants progress for women. If you move in with a woman just to live together for 3 to 5 years, she has the right to your house. In almost all divorces, the man loses the house or ends up having to sell it. So as she says, she specializes in women after divorce. Let's imagine a woman marries a man with a house worth $300,000. If they separate, this man has $100,000 in his bank account. Due to divorce, he has to give her half of everything, which equals $150,000 from the sale of his house and $50,000 from his savings. How the hell do you not buy a house with the $200,000 they gave you afterward? Who loses out on all this? The man who ends up without a house and without savings. But the woman walks away with a check that can significantly improve her life. Who wouldn't be happy with that?
How are you still single? I wanted to answer this question on behalf of all the 50-plus-year-old women who are like me, single, and not really trying to be paired up. It's a question that I get asked a lot. It used to tick me off. I thought it was an implication that it's not normal. Maybe there's something wrong with me. But I know some intentions are good when people ask me that question. I think I would be happier if I was with somebody. Truth be told, I'm pretty happy with my life as is. I ran across this video by Matthew McConaughey, and it really summed up how I feel. He said there was a point in his life where he was searching everywhere for the one. Every woman he came across, he asked himself, is this the one? And one day he decided he was going to accept whatever outcome would be. Shortly thereafter, he met his wife. And that's kind of where I'm at. I like my life. Sure, sometimes would it be great to have a partner, but I've accepted what is right now. I'm not forcing or chasing, because what is meant to be for me will be.
What will be for you is the wall, because the wall does not forgive. This just reminds me of the man who's screwed economically and physically in life. You ask him why he's like that, and he tells you 1,000 stories, but you realize he's simply like that because he never wanted to make an effort to change. He preferred to let life pass him by, ending up as a mediocre. If this woman is so resigned, she might as well buy a cat, because in this life, either you take charge and make things happen, or you resign yourself to losing. Many women spent their youth, as she says, looking for the right one, the Prince Charming, the man who met all the standards, the perfect gentleman. But this gentleman doesn't exist because nobody is perfect. So they leave all the good men who wanted to build something with them aside. Many go for the Chad, others prefer their careers. But as the saying goes, he who doesn't know where he's going, no matter what path he takes, ends up lost. These women end up hitting the wall because they won't settle for less than what they think they deserve. But as I've said on other occasions, you can't dictate your own price. The market does. In this case, it was scarce for the man they wanted. So they end up hitting the wall because the wall does not forgive.
For perfectionists and anyone who struggles with low self-worth. When I was healing my own patterns of perfectionism and started to more closely listen to my own self-talk, it often sounded like, I'm bad at that, I made a mistake, I don't look good in that outfit, I'm not doing good enough, I'm not good enough for that person. It was always about being bad or wrong or broken or not enough. I would spend so much of my time trying to perfect myself, whether it was like perfecting my image or perfecting a project or something that I was working on. I needed to have everything just right in order to not talk to myself so poorly. So to make the jump from I'm bad and I'm doing everything wrong to I'm great, I'm amazing, everything's perfect and fine was too big of a gap to fill. And so for me, one of the shifts I started making that had a really big impact was being able to tell myself it's good enough. If I needed to get an email out or finish a project and I was stressing about every little detail of it, being able to sit with the knowing that it's good enough for whatever the goal of the task was. Or if I'm getting ready to go out for the evening and I'm like picking and critiquing myself, being able to say, you know what, it's good enough to get myself out the door. It was a huge shift for me in my own mental health and my sense of self-worth because I no longer needed to focus on being perfect. I just needed to be good enough to get the task done, to get myself out the door, to do what I needed to do to move on with my life. But then I started to notice, after I practiced that for a long time, for years, that every time I would say to myself, it's good enough, it was no longer from the energy of giving myself permission to just move forward and let myself off the hook without being perfect. It was actually coming from more of a place of like, I'm not good enough again. Like, yeah, it's good enough, but it's not good. So then my new challenge to myself, or my new invitation, was every time I found myself being a little bit critical and going, it's good enough, instead, I would say, you know what? Actually, it's good. I'm good. It's all good. And good doesn't need to be perfect. Good is subjective. I can decide what good is, and I can decide how I feel about myself. The way you speak to yourself matters. So start listening and be willing to call yourself out and make little shifts that feel realistic and believable for you so that you can move towards kinder self-talk. Little by little, that is one of the components of how you build self-worth.
Every time I see a single woman at 30 who has been like that for many years, I always hear this typical motivational speech about trusting yourself more, changing your internal language, keeping up your motivation, manifesting your man. All this nonsense to try to escape reality, which is as lonely as the sun at noon on a cloudless day. Brothers, the wall does not forgive. At least the other girl I showed talked about how women should connect with their feminine energy to be a better wife. But look at how it's the opposite for Western women. It's more about them being stronger and more independent. This discourse of always strengthening oneself and being more solitary, that's why it's a struggle to connect with a man. Because if you mentally adapt to being able to do everything alone, when a man wants to do something with you, you won't let him. It's like the other girl said. We know he can give you flowers or take you out to eat, but let go of control, let your man do it. These women are the opposite. They're like if you need something, do it yourself. That's why they end up hitting the wall, alone, strong, and independent.
Hug me!
Get away from me! God!
Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we will explore the lies surrounding the abuse narrative propagated by the purple-haired movement against men. We'll delve into the other side of the coin. The heightened violence among lesbian couples, currently 75% higher than all others. We'll uncover a case where a woman took the life of her partner to steal her money. Today, we'll find out if it's true that everything is the man's fault. Before we begin, we want to thank you for being here. Your support means a lot to us. If you like what you see, we invite you to subscribe to the channel and give it a thumbs up. We'd also love to hear about your experiences in the comments. Your engagement helps us grow and reach more people. Thank you for being part of our project. Let's get started.
Why is the divorce rate for lesbian couples so high? Same-sex marriage as a legal institution has been around for long enough that there are now long-term studies about the state of marriage among gay couples, and although the field of research is still new, there are some interesting trends. In most of these studies, lesbian couples divorce at a much higher rate than that of gay male couples, and in some studies, even divorce at higher rates than straight couples. An ONS study in the UK shows that lesbian couples are 2.5 times more likely to divorce than gay male couples. An NIH study in the US found that 12% of lesbian couples who adopted children divorced compared to 2% of gay male couples and 8% of straight couples. In Norway, 53% of lesbian marriages in 2003 ended by 2018. But why is this happening? There are a few hypotheses. It could very well have to do with the stereotype that lesbian couples are quick to jump into committed relationships without really thinking if they are compatible with each other. It could also be that women generally have higher standards for relationships and are less likely to stay in unsatisfactory partnerships. Queer women don't have the social pressures of straight women to stay in relationships where they have to tolerate bad behavior such as infidelity or abuse or other issues that would not cause other couples to divorce. Women in same-sex couples are also more likely to have children than men in same-sex couples. And women in general initiate divorce more frequently. Some cultural critics also bring up the idea that marriage as an institution never really favored women to begin with, so it's not hard to believe that women in same-sex couples would find the institution not satisfactory. It's going to be interesting to see if these trends continue as same-sex marriage becomes more recognized worldwide.
Women asking for divorce. Nothing new under the sun. Men who have had relationships, whether married or with a girlfriend, can come to understand the whims and tantrums that women can become. Also, to maintain a healthy relationship, we have to endure and overlook certain attitudes to support our partner. Here are those small differences that women overlook. First, women are faithful to their emotions, so they will act according to how they feel. This is more controllable when respecting the male authority figure. Next, for women, taking responsibility is like kryptonite. So imagine two liars together trying to deceive their blessed female intuition by telling lies to cover up that they are deceiving each other. Lastly, all men know that a woman is like a cute kitten that sometimes we have to take out for a walk and please so that she doesn't throw tantrums. Imagine two women in a house with tantrums. Where do you think those emotions will end up? Of course, fighting. That's why they separate more, and there is more violence in their relationships. Brothers, Nature does not make mistakes.
Proof men aren't the main problem in relationships.
Could not resist, so I had to look it up. From the Office of National Statistics, from a 2019 study, in ever-increasing numbers, we are now at a lesbian divorce rate of 72%. So the top 4 reasons that they are reporting getting divorced is feeling ignored, inequality in the partnership, adultery, and domestic violence. Personally, I feel like this lends some weight to men's arguments and complaints about how women are behaving in relationships. Because when you have lesbian divorce statistics that look like that, the girls are kind of telling on themselves.
How long do you think we got before women claim that statistics are sexist and shouldn't be used against the female gender? And just in case you're wondering, the divorce statistics for gay marriage involving 2 men is only 16%. Some women love to hop in my comments section and say, you should just date men, without realizing that that's proving my point. When I see a lesbian couple, I think to myself, which one of them is going to have to take accountability? Which one of them learned to read minds, became emotionally intelligent, and can create a safe space without being too nice, because nice girls finish last, right? But everybody knows how females really roll when it comes to other women. The standards are set low. They don't judge them for being broke. They don't judge a 3 or 4, but they both end up before a judge when bad traits get exposed. But women say content like this is what's causing division. I guess calling a spade is something we shouldn't mention.
I say taking responsibility for women is like kryptonite because in today's society, every truth that was universally known to be true is now called misogynistic. Of course, the truth hurts, and it hurts even more when it comes with data to back it up. But according to all those in the purple-haired movement, the problem was men. Do you know how many things men do to keep women safe and secure? In a relationship, the man has to be the provider, the protector, the one who takes care of the family's assets, the one who has to handle any situation in the house. If the woman gets sick, the man has to take care of her and pay her medical expenses, in addition to supporting her financially. Do you think a woman wants to replace all of that in another woman's life? Even when a man does all this, women still look for something to complain about. Even when you buy them a house to live in, they complain about splitting things 50-50ths with the man. Now imagine them living together, having to cover each other's expenses, especially putting up with each other's bad temper. Brothers, it's not misogyny. It's the truth. Watch another woman complaining in the next video.
It comes as absolutely no surprise to me that somebody with this username would be spouting lesbophobic bullshit. But let's talk about it. Are lesbians abusers? So I believe you're referring to the fact that around 44% of lesbians and 61% of bisexual women have experienced some form of intimate partner violence. While this is higher than the percentage of intimate partner violence that straight women experience, you're ignoring one core detail. Lesbians are not the perpetrators of that violence. 79% of Sapphic women identify as bisexual. And within the bisexual community, 84% of them are currently in a relationship with somebody of a different gender. And that doesn't even account for the amount of bisexual women and lesbians who have a previous history with men. According to the National Intimate Partner and Sexual Violence Survey, 89.5% of bisexual women have solely experienced intimate partner violence from men and men alone. And that doesn't even mean that of the remaining 10.5% that there was a lesbian involved, let alone solely lesbians. And of the cases of lesbians who have experienced intimate partner violence, 32.6% of the time involved a male perpetrator.
So according to what he says, even when it's them who start the fight, it's also a man's fault. Then he'll say they're violent because they lack a father figure. Brothers, for women, taking responsibility is like kryptonite. Why doesn't he say that women can be just as violent as men? Men in relationships with women have experienced violence from women, but men don't talk about it. When they do, they're just laughed at, even by the police. This leads men to stay silent. But among women, there's no man who will stay silent and not respond to abuse. They'll resort to violence until the stronger one wins. Yet somehow, if women can't control their emotions, it's apparently the man's fault. Then they'll say they're violent because they once talked to a man, but she says she's not violent. Watch the next video to see what a woman is capable of.
What is up, people? Hello. So the other day, somebody commented on one of my videos saying that women could not be abusive and that what I was saying was wrong. And I didn't want to argue back, but my friend Lindsay commented back saying, the creator whose post you just commented on literally has a whole playlist of domestic violence and abuse case studies within the lesbian community. So, because I almost went to law school, because I have chronic OCD, so I'm always compiling lists of evidence for and against. You know, I'm an evidence girly. We are going to bring back that playlist, and we're going to continue with domestic violence, abuse case studies from within the lesbian community, real life stories. I'm going to try and share them as respectfully as possible, as I did before. I'm not at all meaning to sensationalize these cases, to give the killers any more coverage than they deserve. I'm meaning to spread awareness that the lesbian community is misunderstood. People don't necessarily take abuse as seriously in our community, and there's a lot of it. There's a lot of toxicity. There is abuse. Abuse knows no gender, never has, never will. And I've been passionate about spreading this message and advocating for victims of abuse within the lesbian community since I started this account. So yeah, I hope that this helps disprove dumb beliefs and points that women can't be abusive, because they goddamn can't. So without further ado, let's get into today's case. Again, thank you to the ignorant comment for motivating me to bring back this series, and thank you to Lindsay for also reminding me this series was a thing. So today I'm going to share the story of Rebecca Lynn Klein. Rebecca was better known as Becky. She was born on April 4th, 1974, and she was a bright, beautiful young woman. She was a Chicago native. She grew up in a high, middle to upper class family in the north side of Chicago. As a teenager, she attended Streamwood High School and later became a graduate of Illinois State University. This is a picture of Becky that I found online. She was described as a compassionate soul who actually opened up a senior daycare and dedicated quite a lot of her time to the elderly. So when she met Nicole Abusharif, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, she was actually engaged to somebody else and then left her partner for Nicole. Rebecca was 32 in 2007, still living with her 26-year-old domestic partner, Nicole, and they'd been together about 7 years at this point. On March 16, 2007, Rebecca's employer called their home because she hadn't shown up to work, and Nicole, the partner, then filed a missing persons report. When the police responded to this call, they quickly made a horrifying discovery, which was Rebecca's body in the trunk of the couple's car inside the garage. And she had been bound, her hands and feet were bound with duct tape. She'd also been blindfolded, gagged, and suffocated with a plastic bag. Please click on the next video for part 2.
You know what's ironic? The woman telling this story belongs to their group. She's also a lesbian. Just to show that violence has no gender, that it's not always the man who ruins or mistreats in a relationship. Because every story a woman tells when she divorces is that she left her abuser. Yet there are women more abusive than men. As boys, we're told from childhood that we must control our emotions because an emotional man is a danger to society. That's why the government keeps making laws to control men's emotions. But women are told to connect with their emotions. That's why women are faithful to their emotions, making decisions based on them. But they'll never admit this because responsibility is like kryptonite for women. Men will always be seen as abusers. Just hearing, she left her relationship for Becky. How many of us men haven't been left for someone else? We all know it's always because they cheated before leaving you. What doesn't start well, doesn't end well. Look at how Becky ended up, stuffed in a trunk. Let's see how the second part ends.
Hi guys, so this is part 2 of the case study of Becky Klein and her murder at the hands of her partner, Nicole Abusharif. Again, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. So where we had left off, police had responded to a missing persons report and a call, and they found Rebecca's body in the trunk of the car that she shared with her partner, and it was in quite a state. I explained it in the previous video, don't need to repeat what she was found like. The police put together a timeline and they believe that she was murdered the day before on the 15th, and suspicion fell on Nicole very, very quickly after she told police she didn't have the keys to the trunk of the car, as well as just other strange behaviour after Becky's death by Nicole. And police, after they tested the evidence, found Nicole's DNA on the tape, on the rubbish bags and the bandanas that were used to gag and blindfold her partner. They also discovered that Nicole was the sole beneficiary of quite a hefty life insurance policy in Becky's name. And authorities also discovered that Nicole had been dating another woman that she'd met online named Rose, and that financial gain and wanting to be with Rose instead of Becky were her motivations for the murder. It actually came out during her trial that she went bowling the night she killed her partner with Rose, the other girl she was talking to, and they partied together, and then she actually brought Rose back to the house that they shared. Rose also testified during the trial that Nicole had given her keys to the car where Rebecca was found as like a gift, and she also stated that Nicole told her Rebecca was just her housemate and not her partner. It came out that Nicole had lied about a bunch of other stuff, such as that she was a firefighter who had been decorated for her service at Ground Zero after 9/11, and that she was accepted into an elite corps of firefighters, the rescue squad. She also told Rose, the girl she was cheating on Becky with, that she had been successfully treated via a transplant for liver cancer, and then told Rose that she was a heavy drinker and she couldn't control her alcoholism, therefore her body would reject the new liver. Apparently, she went as far as to take Rose to a funeral home and dramatically selected the casket she wanted to be buried in, and that she wanted a firefighting logo inscribed on the coffin. And obviously this was really traumatizing for Rose, who broke down in tears. Very typical for abusers to like pathologically lie about stuff. Just thought I'd add that in because of course she told her all that stuff. Her defense and her claim that the cancer and firefighter was just a fun fantasy game that she played with Rose. Yikes. In May 2009, a jury convicted Nicole of first-degree murder after around 13 hours of deliberations, and the prosecutor described Klein, a caregiver for disabled people, as a flower in God's garden on earth, and said Abu Sharif was the bottom of the barrel. Click on my next video for part 3, the final part, and I'm going to talk about some of the defense arguments.
The worst enemy of a woman is another woman. This woman made it clear that everything a woman does to a man, she did to another woman. One wanted to leave her, keeping his money, typical of women. 2. She lied to her partner and to the new partner. Rose, typical of women. She deceived all her partners, making her relationships toxic, typical of women. Then we hear that the man is the abuser, please? Once a cheater, always a cheater. Remember, she left her commitment when she was cheating with Becky. Now she's cheating with Rose. In short, whoever gets involved loses. Indeed, Becky lost big time. It was game over for her. That's why when I hear the story that starts with, "He was an abuser," when many have ruined men's lives like Becky's, it's clear that with men, women always get their way. If it had been a man, he would have taken everything in a divorce. But since they're women, this move was going to backfire. She wanted the money from the life insurance policy, typical of a woman trying to take all the money from the man that he's worked for in a divorce, then go start a new life with her new love. Do you see all the similarities? A wolf is a wolf even if it dresses as a sheep. This makes it clear that men aren't always the problem nowadays, that even among themselves, they can't get along. That's why men are giving up on dating, because they don't want to deal with these modern women. We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, the questions are for you. What did you think of these stories? What similarities did you see in your relationships with women? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the world to us and motivates us to create more content. Stay tuned for the next exciting video from The Wall.